So, very important part for you to remember is this. Today I get contacted in the daily basis. And at the beginning I was suspicious from some of the first men. You're not gonna post this, you're gonna use a picture, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't want to show my face on this video. But I want to show my voice. Because I will die and my voice will speak the truth. Let me tell you this. I get contacted, right? By the guys that own dogs. And they call me and say, hey, Mr. Lopez, how are you? And we start to talk and the guy's uneducated. And then all of a sudden he tells me, I used to have dogs, this bloodline, that bloodline. I said, hold on a second. I don't deal with the swamp. No, Mr. Lopez. I had the dogs. And you were right, I was young. And I was hanging around with thugs. My cousin did the same, he went to jail. Because those thugs with the dogs, they took him to drugs, they took him to the stuff, and he ended up going to jail. Mm-hmm. But I didn't go to jail, but I understood that having, for those 20 years that I wasted of my life was stuck. I was in forums, I was hanging around with fools, I was jacking around, and I did not accomplish anything in life. And I got out of the dogs, and I started going to school, I started opening business, I met smart people, because my time that was invested in those crappy dogs that I had from some Jeep guy, from some bloodline from Eli dogs, and some bloodline from this guy, they're all junk. And I understood they were never the best. They were just related to the best, but they're never the best. And that's what happened to the bloodlines. You're related to the best, but you're not the best. You're the cousin, or you are in the same racial group of Messi, but you are not Messi. The same racial group or family related to Jordan, but you're not a billionaire. You're just another guy in the neighborhood. So when it comes to that, they understood that, and that guy quit those dogs, made his life, and here I am, Mr. Lopez. I remember what we used to do. I look at what you have done, and thank you so much for saving the breed. Everybody else that was doing what I did in the past failed. I remember you when you were at Kano and whatever, and you're right. You changed a lot. You became better. I like what you do. I'm willing to sign the contract where I lose my dog if I'm a dog fighter. I am willing to sign the contract if I lose my dog if I'm a breeder. I have no intentions to breed whatsoever. I'm a businessman, and you a businessman. You can understand that I'm too busy running my company. But you know something, Mr. Lopez? I got a little girl, and I got a little boy. And I want them to be raised by better dogs than I had. I had the mutts. You got the real dogs, Mr. Lopez. And I want to buy a dog from you. I'm ready to buy it right now. And I'm ready to wait for the puppies to be born. Put a deposit if you want. Whatever you need me to do, I need to get myself a Chico Lopez dog. And now let me tell you this. These moments are coming all the time. Of course, some thugs will come here and listen to this thing, and they'll say, like, he gave me the blueprint how to lie to him. The contract. The contract will be used against thugs, lowlifes, scumbags, and breeders to put them in jail. The good owners, they're not afraid of the contract because they're good people. They need their dogs for their family. They know these are the most well-balanced dogs. Let me give you something that'll flip you upside down. Having a dog with a bloodline don't mean nothing. Don't mean anything. Having a dog register, you register like any cur dog in the past that was registered. You register like the parents and grandparents of the bullies before they called them bullies. They were registered Pitbulls. Let me tell you something. What matters is where the framework came from, which is the brand. The American Pitbull Terrier was created, developed, selected under two frameworks that have a blueprint, that have principles, values, understanding, and it has a measuring stick to know what it is. And the framework is this. Number one, the greatest dog becomes the breed. If Chilindrina, which went to several countries, Best in Show, Gamers in Show, and can win in 30 minutes or 2 hours to become grand champion was a male, she becomes the main stud dog in the whole planet Earth. And the real men that had dogs, and they had them because they wanted to have the best, not because they wanted to pretend to be the best. They didn't care how much money they spent. If the dogs were not good, they'll get rid of them. The moment those men understood that their dogs were not on the level of Ciega the Great or Chilindrina or Mechanic Buck or the Bagman or a Toss, they look at themselves, they say, I spent 20 years with these mutts, I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm going to start buying dogs from Chico Lopez. The only problem they have is that I don't work with breeders. They'll have to be family men. You understand? Because it's much better to be a dog owner than be a person that raised dogs to become nobody and fake way call yourself a dogman, but the only thing you're being is a guy that feed a whole bunch of mutts.
And waste time.
And waste your life. And waste your time, pretend. There's nothing worse than the guy that has the broken car full of stickers of racing cars. And that's how society embraced today. Oh my God, look at this car with all the stickers of a Lenco transmission, of a Liberty G transmission. It's not inside the car because those tires cannot handle the power. So we know the car that makes noise, they make it hole in the muffler so it can make noise. It's a garbage can car. The same way that car is a garbage can, for him, they say that to some men, somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure. Well, guess what? That happened in the dogs. For the real top of the line man, some dog is junk. For the man, is his main star dog. So the framework is this. The best dog becomes the breed and everything else goes. When you keep those dogs alive that you kept, that you didn't get rid of, that you didn't castrate and keep them as pets or whatever, but you give them to your cousin and your cousin breed them and they say it's related to this bloodline, those dogs become bullies. And you know what happens? Those bullies use your name, American Pitbull Terrier. 30 to 40 years later, those dogs destroyed the perception of the CEO, of the doctor, the engineer, and they say the dog that they call American Pitbull Terrier is a mutt, is the dog of the junk, is the dog of the thug, is the dog of the drug dealers. And it's very difficult to sell them the idea that I don't have the dog they have, because they disrespected the frame that only the best is the breed. In the movie The 300s, when Leonidas didn't kill that guy that was deformed, that Quasimodo looking like guy that came, by not killing that guy, by not getting rid of that guy, by allowing this pretender join with the ignorance, with the enemies, and kill Leonidas. You understand? So that's why the old timers, the real old timers, not these fools that come and say, I'm alive. No. The real men in the past will get rid of all the dogs that became leftovers. If somebody didn't have a Mayday dog, but had a yard full of black dogs when Mayday came in, and he was a smart man, you know what they did? The honest ones will get rid of them. But some of them, they sold them to people around so they can get money, so they can buy Mayday dogs. But they're not even Mayday himself produced all of the great dogs. Most of the dogs from Mayday became common dogs with time. The next generation, the Mayday dogs become weaker. And some of them hold the look. It's amazing. They look just like him. But they're not like him. Because to keep that part right there is the most difficult part. But in the framework, the first part of the framework is the breed. The best become the breed. And in the second part of the framework is this, that supports the first part. Only the best, F the rest. So it's all together. So when someone comes and says, oh, well, my dog got this bloodline, got a little bit of this, or still got the bloodline inside. This guy that says still got the bloodline inside, he is a 30, 40 guy in the dogs. Is his absolute below a rookie.
How do Spartans long years ago understand that? And people today...
Because they were in battle and they were testing. Leonidas had a soft heart. And that's why he got lost.
I know, but the general Spartans, they understand that selection from the beginning was
Oh yeah,
100%
from the
support.
beginning you pick them up. The Japanese understood this when they created these koi fish. They understood at the very beginning didn't have these colors. So the Japanese will pick up the ones that had a little bit of coloration. They took them out and started to breed them, but they were looking for some. So the guys on the bullies do the same thing. They understand that these mud with the bigger head, I mean, you look at these guys are ridiculous. They're making some shows, and it's like you have a circus, you know, and you have a whole bunch of clowns, and they're playing a clown act, and they're measuring the heads of the dogs. Because, oh, you know, we have the right to look for the look, but they're using the name of the dog. But listen, I'm going to cut it short. I am very happy that those men that failed pretending to be a dogman in the past, they're looking around, they see nothing but mutts. And they were part of the problem. They were part of the creation. They didn't know. A lot of these breeders didn't know. A lot of the breeders that breed these ones called Pitbulls, bullies, blues, merles, and all this garbage can. Those guys, they absolutely don't know that they are committing a crime in canine history by using the name of the greatest dog ever created by any man in any era, the real American Pitbull Terrier at the highest level. And they took that dog and deformed it. But what happened was that when that breeder was a little boy, he walked out of his porch, he looked at a mud, and his father, which he was also ignorant, said, "That is an American Pitbull Terrier, son." That dog created the concept of never give up and the concept of underdog and top dog. That's a Quasimodo. That bully right there is a Quasimodo. But his dummy father told him that's a kid. So the kid, oh my God, look at this dog. And then he talks to the neighbor. The neighbor's like, yeah, this dog, he's the best, man. Look at the side of the head. Yeah, he's blue dog, man. Take a look at this dog. I got the Merrill collar, you know, special edition, exotic tail, exotic nails. He even got an exotic dick. And this boy, when he grew up, one day I want to become a breeder of these mutts. And they tattoo in their arm Pitbulls, and some of them put the game dog. It's like the guys that, it is unbelievably, the level of stupidity is on so many levels.
Dog next to a bully,
Yeah,
is like,
yeah, no. And so you think about these things and how who is in fault of this. In the 1980s, 90s, and 2000s, when the American Pitbull Terrier became highly illegal to develop the old way they used to develop them back in the 50s and the 60s, there was a boost in quality, but the laws became harder at one point, and the men that were there, they allow, because of money, I remember when I got into the dogs, being in the back of a car with some dog people. I wouldn't consider them a dogman today. At the time, I thought they were dogmen. But they said, this crowd is coming into the breed, and I'm getting out because I don't want to be with these people. You know, my life is too good to be around these humans. And they got out of it, and they sold their dogs to the same guys that they got into dogs. And a new breed of people came to the dogs. A new type of culture came to the dogs. And so, oh yeah, that's a good dogman right there. This guy been in jail like 6-7 times. Oh yeah, he killed somebody, he raped a little girl. He's a good dogman and created the basis of the swamp. So the good man, the average man, they got out of it. And the thug got attracted to it. And that's how little boys grew up. And today I'm running a show, I'm running a podcast, I'm running this, all about thugs and how they're the dogs and the game dog and how we're going to breed them. They know nothing. They got no merits. They didn't run anything. They are zero.
They have no culture.
They are zero to the breed. Let me explain to you something. They are zero to their breed. Zero. They are negative to the breed. They're not even zero. They're negative to the breed. Yeah. And they're negative, and because now YouTube works like this. If you are lying to people, but you got a crowd of morons and idiots that they have no job, they probably live on welfare or something, or they are very small-minded and they like to gossip, they go into a place, the more idiots you get 50,000, 100,000, 1 million idiots get together, and then you get paid by lying through super shots or whatever. In this moment, the YouTube is part of the crime of destroying the breed, or whatever it is that they do, because people get paid to lie. You understand? But then there is this individual that is listening to me and says, I look at Chico Lopez, I look at his dogs, I look at his principles, I look at what he has done, I see where he came from and where he's at now, where he's going. This is the real deal. And it's through merits, through the framework, that only the best becomes the breed, and only the best F the rest. And when I look back at some of those videos that I made in the past, and I come out and say, that's canine junk. And then I look at them and I'm like, that's so tough. But when they show the videos of the muds, the double X's, triple X's, bullies killing the kids, like the guy who put the video together, I look like a genius. I look like I had a crystal ball back on those days. And you say, Chico was ahead of his time. Chico was the prophet. He was a prophet. He was telling us the truth. We didn't like him and we didn't like the truth. But now people got hurt. I saw yesterday a program of a girl somewhere in California. I think she is 21-year-old. 21-year-old. She got beat very hard. She came out on TV because they were recording a shelter. So her story is she was recorded while she adopted a Rottweiler Shepherd, some bullshit mix, and she was happy, took it home. That dog attacked her badly, and she became very depressed, because these guys now, they're not tough. When they face adversity, they're not tough like the people in the past. You know, when you squeeze a lemon, you get lemon juice. When you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. When you squeeze a human, you find out what it is made of. When you squeeze a boy and a girl that his father loved American Pitbull Terriers, and the kids were raised with American Pitbull Terriers, they act like them when it's hard to go hard. When the heart gets going, they become hard. But these kids raised with toy dogs and fake dogs and rescue dogs. Let me do a DNA test of my dog so I can get the beautiful surprise to see what's the breed of my dog. You'll be like a woman, closing her eyes, having sex with 20 men or whatever, and let me get a DNA test to see who's the father. You understand what I'm saying? You don't know what it is because you don't trust the process. Once you trust the process, you don't need a DNA test. The only reason you have a DNA test is when something is in doubt. And might be in doubt because nobody knows that person that's talking about it, or might be in doubt because we don't know what's inside the dog. So you pay attention to what I'm telling you right now. That girl went from taking those pills that they give in parties, oxys, whatever, to make you happy, whatever the pills are, and somebody gave her something they call, I think, and excuse me if I don't know these type of words, fentanyl. They give her fentanyl, that thing, and she became addicted on the first pill, and she became so addicted, she lost everything she has, job, everything. 21-year-old, homeless, selling her body to have some money to buy some fentanyl, and she got beat by a dog. Everything started with a dog that beat her. You understand what I'm saying? So you must understand. You must understand the dogs. They're okay. You must understand that there's people that know what they're talking about because they earned the right by marriage, and there's those that talk about those men. So whenever somebody's talking about dogs and giving a lecture on heavy opinions and very passionate, people can be very passionate about things they don't know. Promise you, they're passionate about shit they don't know. I see it on sports. They're very passionate about football. They never touch a football. They don't know what's a football game, never went to a Super Bowl. But they're very passionate. They know everything about it. All the stories about Tom Brady and everything. But they never run a field. So let me tell you this. You see these guys that are very passionate talking about dogs, and you feel like you want to listen to them, do yourself a favor. Ask them in a piece of paper, what are the names of the great grand champions and champions they made themselves. Don't allow them to tell you that they sell more dogs than anybody. Don't allow them to tell them they know some people or they've been around the game for a long time. Don't allow them to lie to you with that. Being around the dogs does not make you anything but an older man than being around the dogs. Nothing else. My name is Chico Lopez. You can always find me at chicolopez.com.